In a Chicago back alley, a black Chevrolet Nova creeps past a crowded bar at night. Two young men exit, chatting about a girl, unaware of the car until it suddenly vanishes. In its place is a shiny red sports car, which one man eagerly enters despite his friend's caution about it being a police trap. When the second man joins him, the doors and windows vanish, plunging them into darkness. They panic as the car consumes them, and one man futilely slaps the wall in desperation. Unbeknownst to them, the car is a monster. It reverts to black and speeds through the city, colliding with another vehicle at an intersection. The second car flips as the black one speeds away, prompting an immediate police response. When officers investigate, they find the black car empty, with a strange dark liquid leaking from the trunk. Since no one claims it, the car is taken to the police garage. Meanwhile, Tilda, a female mechanic, prepares for work while her boyfriend, who is unemployed and often complains about his back pain, lingers around the house. She suggests he should help out more, but he keeps asking her to fix his car for job interviews. At the garage, a bearded mechanic is shocked to see the black car mysteriously restored, with no signs of damage. When he climbs in to check the engine, the car slams the door on his leg, and he quickly jumps out, only for the car to ram him into the elevator shaft. The garage owner, a strict and vigilant man, monitors his crew's activities through security cameras from the comfort of his office. He becomes concerned when he realizes that the bearded mechanic has vanished without completing his tasks for the day. He promptly uses the intercom to summon the remaining crew members and inquires about the missing mechanic's whereabouts. The crew, comprising a deaf mechanic who relies on a hearing aid, Tilda's teenage nephew, and a seasoned veteran mechanic, is momentarily disrupted by the boss's inquiry. The veteran mechanic is tasked with searching for the bearded mechanic, while the deaf mechanic turns to the nephew to ask if Tilda will be arriving soon. Tilda, running late, arrives at the garage on her motorcycle, only to be reprimanded by the boss for allowing her nephew to study on the job. The boss then sets out to continue his search for the missing mechanic. In the meantime, Tilda approaches the boss's secretary to inquire about a locket she had left behind earlier, but the secretary claims not to have seen it. As the veteran mechanic approaches the mysterious black car, he is startled by the nephew, who is also searching for the bearded mechanic. Tilda then requests permission from the boss to work on her boyfriend's car during her break, but he curtly rejects her request, citing the numerous cars in need of repair and implying that her boyfriend is a loser. Undeterred, Tilda begins her work, and her attention is drawn to the enigmatic jet black car. As she inspects the vehicle, she remarks that it appears to have been crafted differently, emitting a strange aura that sets it apart from other cars. When she touches the car, she senses a peculiar sensation, and the hood feels warm to the touch, despite the car having remained stationary since its arrival at the garage. Tilda's curiosity gets the better of her as she presses her ears against the hood of the mysterious black car, and she's startled to hear unusual hissing noises that are unlike any engine she's ever encountered. Intrigued, she instructs her team to lift the car so they can inspect its underbelly. While the deaf mechanic and Tilda's nephew ride the elevator back to the top level, Tilda stays behind to search for the missing bearded mechanic. Meanwhile, the veteran mechanic stumbles upon a rare vintage car, which catches his attention. As Tilda approaches him, she notices that the black car is no longer in its original spot. Instead, it has been replaced by the vintage car. The veteran, fascinated by his discovery, opens the car door to take a closer look. In a shocking turn of events, the door suddenly slams Tilda against the car with immense force. A strange appendage emerges from the vehicle, clamping itself around the veteran and trapping him inside. Tilda rushes to his aid, grabbing a nearby fire extinguisher to break the glass and free him. However, no matter how hard she slams the window, it remains unyielding, refusing to shatter. To Tilda's horror, the black car suddenly reverses and runs her over, as the veteran mechanic trapped inside screams in terror. Battered but determined, Tilda hurries to inform her boss and the rest of the crew about the shocking incident, though they are skeptical and dismiss her claims, with the deaf mechanic suggesting that Tilda may be suffering from past trauma-induced paranoia. Their doubts are shattered, however, when they begin to hear the ominous rumbling of the jet black car echoing through the garage. The boss storms towards the vehicle, only to discover that it has no door handles, leaving him unable to confront the threat directly. Tilda insists that he listen closely to the sounds coming from under the car's hood, Reluctantly, the boss presses his ear against the hood and is startled to hear the same strange hissing noises that Tilda had described, as if some creature is lurking within. When the deaf mechanic finally manages to pry the hood open, a massive snake suddenly slithers out, attacking the stunned onlookers. As the snake retreats back into the hood, the car suddenly springs to life, giving chase to the 4 terrified mechanics. They narrowly escape by hiding in a corner, out of the car's reach. Tilda elaborates that the monster car is not only alive, but also possesses the extraordinary ability to transform into different vehicles at will. The nephew chimes in, explaining that certain creatures in nature have evolved to disguise themselves as harmless objects like rocks or shells, creating a false sense of security for smaller animals. When these unsuspecting creatures take shelter, the predators strike. While Tilda recommends calling the police for assistance, the boss is resolute in his determination to eliminate the monster car once and for all. Deaf Mechanic and the nephew concur with his decision. The nephew then proposes a clever plan to lure the car into the elevator shaft, where they can trap it. With this strategy in mind, the boss, accompanied by the nephew and Deaf Mechanic, heads down to the second level of the garage to construct a barricade, hoping to contain the monster car. Tilda stays on the 3rd level to track the monster car. She discovers a strange substance left behind and finds the veteran's necklace, realizing the car is deadly. She rushes to call the police, but the boss, present with the secretary, dismisses her concerns. Tilda looks for an escape, but finds all the doors locked by her boss. Despite her protests, the deaf mechanic reminds her that the boss is in charge. Meanwhile, the nephew traps the car in the elevator, but it breaks through and speeds away. Hearing the commotion, the secretary investigates, but is quickly pursued by the car. She runs and hides behind a pillar. Tilda and the others rush to help her, but as the secretary steps into the office, the car crashes through the wall, reverses, and violently strikes her. Luckily, Tilda arrives on the scene, riding her motorcycle, and quickly rescues the heavy secretary from the monster car's pursuit. As they flee, Tilda demonstrates her exceptional riding skills, navigating through the rows of parked vehicles with ease. Meanwhile, the deaf mechanic attempts to divert the car's attention, but its ear-piercing noise disables his hearing aid, leaving him temporarily disoriented. The car then sets its sights on the deaf mechanic, who desperately runs towards the wall. The car follows close behind, pinning him against the wall with its 2 wheels. In a tragic turn of events, the car runs over the deaf mechanic, electrocuting him by crashing into a nearby electrical box. This accident also causes the garage's lights to fail, plunging the area into darkness. The team is devastated by the loss of their colleague, and with the electricity now out, their chances of survival are rapidly dwindling. The boss confesses that his key was left on his desk, but due to the office's current state of disarray, it is now impossible to locate. Tilda, however, observes the strange substance leaking from the car once again, and this realization sparks a crucial insight. The monster car can be injured. Their next course of action is to attempt an escape through the emergency exit, but they soon discover that the boss has welded it shut to prevent unauthorized entry by potential intruders, such as the Vabrons. Undeterred, Tilda proposes a bold plan to destroy the car. However, the boss grows irate at being usurped by Tilda, but she firmly stands her ground, assertively putting him in his place. The monster car retreats to a distant corner of the garage, where it begins to repair its damages and undergo a transformation into a new, intimidating form. The crew gets to work as Tilda directs them to build a Burmese tiger trap, a steel trap with hidden spikes. While at the bottom of the elevator shaft, they discover the dead body of the bearded mechanic, shocking them. They start to set up the trap just as an alert sounds, indicating the monster car is approaching. They ask Maria to make Molotov cocktails, while the others prepare the tarp for the trap. The monster car ascends to the next level and transforms into the police car they used earlier. Once the trap is completed, Tilda rides her motorcycle down to lure the car into the shaft. The monster car appears, but it no longer resembles a police vehicle. Tilda successfully draws it near the trap, but when the secretary throws a Molotov cocktail, it bounces back, igniting her. In a panic, she stumbles backward and falls into the shaft. Despite the boss's warning, it's too late. Tilda picks up her nephew on her motorcycle to escape, but they crash and are forced to flee on foot. They regroup with their boss, who informs them that the secretary did not survive. Tilda's nephew gets into the police car to move it, but realizes he doesn't have the keys. Tilda realizes too late that he's in the wrong car, as the monster car has disguised itself as the police vehicle to lure him in. She tries to pull him out, but the giant snake inside is already crushing him. The boss shoots at the car, but the bullets have no effect. Moments later, the car drives off, leaving the nephew dead. Overcome with grief, Tilda lashes out at the boss, who awkwardly tries to comfort her. After regaining her composure, they hotwire a car to pursue the monster, following a trail of blood it left behind. They exit the car, but the monster car suddenly appears and runs over Tilda. She clings to the front as the boss tries to lead the car toward the shaft. Tilda lets go, but a GPS tentacle wraps around her leg, dragging her down with it. As they fall into the shaft, Tilda avoids the spikes, but the monster car gets impaled in the trap they set. The boss nearly loses his grip on the ladder but manages to hold on. The monster car reveals its true form, a massive snake-like creature. Tilda grabs a gun and shoots at another car near the shaft, causing it to fall and further impale the monster. Tilda climbs out of the shaft, sustaining only minor injuries, while the boss also survives and pulls himself up the ladder. In an instant, he shifts his focus to how he can profit from the night's events. He plans to sell their story and share some of the money with Tilda, revealing that he had the keys all along, but lied about them being lost out of greed. When the garage doors finally open, Tilda's boyfriend is waiting outside, worried about her since she hasn't answered his calls. Frustrated with his spinelessness, Tilda throws him the keys to his car and walks away. The boyfriend is shocked to see his car completely destroyed. As Tilda steps into the street at dawn, she notices 5 identical black cars approaching the garage. Hearing the familiar hum of the monster car, she realizes the danger. Back inside, the boss eagerly calls a news station to share the story, while the 5 cars line up in front of him, their headlights flickering on, indicating they are similar super hybrid creatures. The movie ends with Tilda walking away, leaving the boss to face his grim fate. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our recap. Like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.